Yo, this is the Scarcity Studios YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. And our sponsors are Alpha Claims and Hire Birmingham, the leading and best accident management company. Get a replacement car anywhere in 1 hour. I really appreciate you joining me today, and happy 420 to any of our subscribers that are celebrating the day. This episode is about everything to do with drugs and cryptocurrency, and the way that gangs have been using it to try to make their lives easier, but in actual fact, they've now found themselves in prison. This first story is about a couple who used the dark web to sell drugs and used crypto coin as the currency they accepted. Reid and Zadia Salami used cryptocurrency to do deals from their home in Toxteth in the Liverpool area. The couple fronted a major dark web drug operation from their homes, and they've been ordered to pay back of their profits in a proceeds of crime order. Reid and Zadia were sentenced to a total of 15 years and 6 months for conspiracy to supply Class A drugs. They were caught when officers from the regional Organised crime unit raided their home in Toxteth. The address was targeted after 120 grand worth of crystal meth was intercepted in Coventry in the West Midlands, and it was going to the L8 area of Liverpool. It's very rare that we cover cases in Britain of crystal meth being used, and this definitely shows a trend in that drug. IT expert Reid had a good job. He earned £60,000 a year from IT banking. The investigations on his computer revealed incriminating data detailing thousands of pounds worth of drug orders dispatched to customers all over the country and even Scotland. The 37-year-old, they said, was involved in numerous drug deals every single day. And this is the false perception that people think that crypto or Bitcoin can hide your transactions. But these transactions are very public for anyone to see and very traceable. Police say they found £500,000 worth of methamphetamine at the address on Cairns Street, along with a wholesale amount of Class A and B drugs. The drug deals were paid for using cryptocurrency Bitcoin, and there were 2 email addresses that could be used to trade in the currency. The prosecution said that Reid was at the heart of the importations, and his supply network allowed for an expansive and nationwide trade in these substances. Drug dealing paraphernalia was also found. This included heat sealing equipment and also labelling machines, jiffy bags and bulking agents that included Epsom salts and also acetone. They said there was part of a major drug distribution centre. They found another 3.5 kilos of crystal meth inside a safe in another property during the raids. Reid was jailed for 12 years. Salami was given 3.5 years for her involvement. And after they charge and convict somebody, then they can start to look into their finances. The hearing at Liverpool Crown Court found the pair benefited from their crimes to the sum of £609,000. He must pay that back within 3 months, or he will face a further 15 months in prison. Salami was previously ordered to pay back 5 grand's worth of assets, and Detective Inspector Lyndon James from the regional Organised Economic Crime Unit said the order made by the court today ensures that Reid will be stripped of his profits that he made from these crimes. And we hope that it sends a massive message to other criminals to not get involved. So that story is an example of a conviction, but there is many raids relating to cryptocurrency gangs taking place across the country. Earlier this month, the NCA took part in raids, arrested people in the North East of England and also in Surrey. They launched the investigation after parcels of MDMA, which is the primary component for ecstasy tablets, that was sent to addresses across the world, and that was intercepted, and an investigation was launched to find out who was sending them. Analysis of messages shared on Encrochat, the encrypted messaging platform brought down as part of Operation Venetic, enabled officers to identify individuals believed to be involved in supplying drugs and laundering money using cryptocurrency. A total of 90 kilos of MDMA, 134 kilos of amphetamines, which is most likely speed, and 6,000 diazepam tablets as well, with a combined street value of £4.3 million, were recovered during the investigation. 2 men aged 24 and 31 were arrested in South Shields and also Hebburn. on suspicion of importing and supplying Class A, B and C drugs. They remain in police custody for questioning. They also raided an address in Epsom in London, and they searched other addresses in South Shields. Officers found mobile phones, computers and drug packaging paraphernalia. The NCA was supported by officers from the US Homeland Security, North East Operations Unit, Northumbria Police and also Surrey Police. So this was actually an international investigation into Encrochat and cryptocurrency and their involvement in drug distribution. The NCA operations manager Martin Clark said the actions against the organised crime group supplying drugs via the dark web was dismantled in a well-established operation. We work with our partners in the US to target individuals involved who ultimately prey on vulnerable and destroying communities. The investigation shows that those who try to use the dark web and encrypted communication devices to be anonymous can be identified. And 2 people from South Shields were sending drugs overseas. They know they are wanted and we want them to hand themselves into police as they have still not been arrested. The US Homeland Security investigator Eric Faulman said, "One of our top priorities as an agency is to dismantle international narcotic smuggling that starts and is involved in the US. The strong partnership between Homeland Security and National Crime Agency continues to produce positive results in combating organised international crime affecting both of our countries." Officers discovered the drugs were imported from the Netherlands to the UK and then sold on the dark web. Packages containing MDMA were intercepted by NCA and Border Force last year and were destined to the UK, America, Israel, Norway, Thailand, Hong Kong and elsewhere. One of the members of the group, Mubinar Rahman, 25 from South Shields, was arrested in July and has admitted posting 100 packages at Newcastle Crown Court. So that is a massive example of the way that it's got international. You can literally start something in your bedroom in South Shields and end up sending drugs all over the world and making that much money. But of course the police are going to be doing their most to try to prevent this. And that isn't the first time that gangs have used Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in order to launder their money. The first example ever where a county lines drug gang used Bitcoin happened last year, and 19 gang members were arrested in Essex and Suffolk, and the ringleader was named as Chris Golding. They used Bitcoin to hide their profits that they said they made 90 grand a day. Back in October last year, this was classed as the first ever Bitcoin county lines gang, and the group is suspected of hiding millions of pounds of cryptocurrency after enabling middle-class users to transfer payments online. In a highly sophisticated operation, the massive gang allegedly set up numerous Bitcoin accounts to buy and sell Class A drugs across 4 counties in near untraceable payments. They were rumbled when the police received a tip-off about suspicious drug activity in a pub run by the ringleader. Members of the network were said to have started using Bitcoin after running out of places to hide the profits when they made 90 grand a day. Detectives believe the gang were ploughing at least 120 grand a week into cryptocurrency from the sale of cocaine and crack across Essex, Suffolk, Hertfordshire and London. During the probe named Operation Shark, officers saw dealers deposit money into high street Bitcoin cash points and instantly convert cash into online currency. Detective Inspector Lewis Basford, who leads Essex Police on county lines, estimates that for nearly 2 years the group sold 3 kilos of coke a week around 10 county lines in the southeast. They are also thought to have run their own Harlow-based county lines, and the gang, which were named after the mobile phones used to peddle the drugs, often used teenagers to sell them. They said they operated a vast network of distribution and the encrypted criminal communications, Encrochat, and when it was hacked last year, it allowed them to intercept communications and set up an investigation and seize around £2 million in proceeds after recovering a number of account codes. They said this is the first ever Bitcoin county lines using crypto, and they started using it as they was making so much money and they couldn't move it around. Crypto is an excellent way to launder money, they said, but of course any currency can be used to launder money. That is just a ridiculous statement. If anything, Bitcoin, as they've shown, is very traceable. It just means that when they're doing the transaction, if you don't know about it, then it's harder. The ringleader Gxng, 38, was arrested on suspicion of intent to supply Class A drugs, and his wife was also arrested in front of their children on suspicion of being concerned in the supply of drugs. Subsequent searches of their pub, where Mr. Gxng was a landlord, found tens of thousands of pounds hidden in a safe. They found £100,000 in cash in the raids, and drugs, and a number of weapons. So that is a brilliant example of a high-tech Bitcoin crypto gang laundering hundreds of thousands of pounds a week, which was making it easier for them to move the money around, and also made it easier for their customers because their customers are using the currency now. So of course it only makes sense that they do the same thing. In another first of its kind, in Ireland last year, a drug dealer lost 53 million euros in Bitcoin accounts. The Criminal Assets Bureau seized 6,000 Bitcoin, they said, but they never seized it because they couldn't access it because the security was so good. The drug dealer, they said, amassed 55 million euros in fortune, which translates to 45 million pound, when he bought the codes using profits from growing cannabis back in 2012. He made 12 online accounts because he became worried that they would be hacked in the future. He wrote them down on paper, and when he was jailed and his house was emptied by his landlord, the paper with the codes was thrown away by the removal group. The police are confident this happened, but they can't actually prove it. So up until this point, no one can access any of them accounts that contain 4.5 million euros in each account of Bitcoin. And this goes to show the way that it increased in value since 2012. Bitcoin surpassed £40,000, and some experts predict that it could hit £100,000 by the end of 2021. So you can imagine how devastating it must be for this guy who can't access the £45 million worth of Bitcoin. But it also shows how difficult it is for the government and law enforcement to access them without the codes. So I thought these were some really interesting stories in relation to cryptocurrency, crypto communication, and also county lines and drugs. I really appreciate you joining me today. Thank you for all the support for the channel. Please don't forget to follow us online as well. Follow the links in the description. And I'll be back again very shortly with some more news. Peace.